As odds Preller moves off Grisham before the deadline. Jim.
John. Yeah, I don't see it happening. I don't see them going and selling. And who wants Grisham anyway?
Yeah, I wouldn't say Grisham is selling if you part ways with him.
It's not selling, but again, what is the benefit of moving off Grisham just because he's not good?
It would be nice to upgrade.
I mean, if you can upgrade, that'd be great. But just to move Grisham, just to move him, you're not going to get anything in return for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, why? What do you think?
I mean, I could see a player like Trent Grisham be moved. I mean, I don't think he has value either. I think ultimately that AJ Preller is going to hedge a bit at the deadline. I don't foresee drastic wholesale change in either direction. I don't think they sell off all of their non-controllable pieces like Josh Hader, Blake Snell, Ha-Seong Kim, for example, Seth Lugo. I don't think they sell all those pieces off. Could one move? Yes. I also don't think he adds 4 or 5 major league pieces at the deadline. I think ultimately he could both buy and sell. He could move off of, Josh Hader. Maybe it's a bad example. He could move off Seth Lugo and then add, a bat and a starting pitcher. He could move Trent Grisham and add another outfielder. I don't think it's going to be like what we've seen a couple of the years recently, like 2020. They went fully for it. Last year, they went fully for it. I mean, they made huge changes last year, not just Soto, right? They had multiple changes at the deadline. Drury, who else? Bell. I mean, it was a pretty significant deadline. I mean, that's not coming, in my opinion. I don't think it's coming either way, buying or selling for the Padres 3 weeks from today.
If you look back to 2020, I mean, you can even go back to 2019, not 2019, because that team, they sold off Franmil Reyes and multiple pieces. But AJ Preller every year since 2020 has made a big move, regardless.
Not 2021.
He's traded for Adam Frazier.
Exactly.
I mean, that's not like a seismic move, but at the time, I mean, the headline was Padres trade for all-star second baseman. So that and Jack Sawinski, they traded away for Adam Frazier, is like, I retweet his ass all the time from hitting home runs. He's like 20 home runs this year. So Preller every single year has made at least one move that is, I guess you could say, headliney. 2020 with the Clevenger, 2021 Adam Frazier, 2022 Juan Soto. To say that he's just going to stand pat with a team that, they have so much invested in, thinking about it now, I wouldn't put it past Preller to do anything, honestly.
I would. I mean, it's like they're already tied up. Like Darvish, Snell, Musgrove, Hader, Soto, Bogarts, Machado, Tatis, Suarez. I mean, it's like there's so much money tied up that, I mean, I guess an Adam Frazier type player, but that's completely, even if he would have hit, it wouldn't have been it's not franchise altering, and it's not even significant in terms of winning or losing over the course of your 60 games. I mean, what Adam Frazier would have created in 2021 if he hit? What would he have been worth? A win and a half? I mean, that's a high WAR player for 2 months.
Right. But I mean, at the time, John, he was an all-star starting second baseman.
Yeah, I know, but he was like a slap hitting singles hitter. I mean, I'm saying even if he didn't hit 200 here and he hit 300 here, what would have been different? They still would have gone in the tank.
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean,
right. So it's like, I'm saying, are they going to go find a piece that actually changes the fortunes of their season?
What I'm saying is, I don't think the Adam Frazier deal, while albeit it's not like this big name that everybody knows like Juan Soto, Preller the last 3 years hasn't just made tinkering moves with like, a bullpen piece they don't really know about that could really help you. Like, he's made moves that are kind of flashy and headliney every single year. Regardless of what you think of Adam Frazier, that was still a flashy Padres trade for second baseman, all-star.
Yeah,
2020.
But we were like, I wonder why they traded for a second baseman when they already have middle infielders. What does this mean for Eric Hosmer?
Because he tried to get someone else and go of other people. So he's always tried to go big. In 2021, remember, it was these guys just need to play better, right? And also,
they tried landing Scherzer at the deadline.
Yeah,
couldn't.
I know. So he's tried to make splashy moves the last 3 years. In 2021, they were actually good at that deadline. So
But there's no splashy move to be made, and hear me out.
I'm not saying they're gonna make a splash move. I'm just saying it's not like Preller to just like stand pat and let things play out.
It's not, but the only way you bring talent to the major league roster, theoretically, is by giving up real pieces in your system, which is like, at what point does that stop? Because like the money's run out. Like everything
It
is stopped.
is never going to stop with Preller here.
Well,
It might stop this year,
that's what
but
I'm saying.
it might. But over the course of the however long he's here for, probably for another 100 years, because Peter Seidler will give him like stake in the franchise, right? He's always going to try to make that splashy move. He
What
just
was their
can't help
splashy
himself.
move in 2016? What was their splashy move in 2017? What was their splashy move in 2018? What was their splashy move in 2019? It's just as the organization has trended towards winning. Well, of course, all organizations that are winning are trying to add at the deadline. Organizations that are losing are trying to sell off and add pieces for
Well,
their
those
future.
teams, 2015 was the splashy moves.
Yeah,
And then
in
he
the
traded
offseason.
everybody. And they traded everybody. Well, they didn't trade everybody because he kept everybody at the deadline. And then the next 3 years were all just rebuild bullshit. And then 2020 and 2021 and 2022, he's always tried to go big the last couple of years. I don't know. I doubt he's going to do anything big this deadline. What I'm saying is I don't put anything past him.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I would just say that I think a lot of teams that are trending towards the postseason try to make moves that are like significant in nature. And it doesn't always happen, I guess, but it's not like it's just been the Padres that have been pulling off big trades over the last 3 years. I mean, you go back to 2021 with the Dodgers, and when you acquire Trey Turner and Max Scherzer, that's as big of a trade as you can possibly make at a deadline. And I mean, I think everyone's all for that type of trade, by the way. If you're in position to acquire players of the caliber of Soto, Turner, Scherzer, Clevenger at the time, I think everyone's a big proponent of that. I'm a proponent of that now. I just think that the system isn't going to be as fruitful as it's previously been. And you're not going to just keep trading away pieces like Jackson Merrill and Ethan Salas and Dylan Lesko and whomever your first round pick was this year. I think at some point you're going to have to hold pat a little bit. Not to say you can't add pieces like relievers to run it back's point, pick up 2 solid relievers and we'll make the playoffs. I don't necessarily think it's as simple as that. Run it back, and thank you for the super chat. They can absolutely add to their bench. They could add a DH. They could add relievers. They could add a veteran starter. I'm just saying the big deal. You're right. Well, you can't put it past him. It would surprise me because I don't think he has the equity in order to pull it off in his system. And I think he might even realize himself that I can't go down this path each and every year if it's going to be viable each and every year.
Yeah, I just wouldn't put past Preller to get that itch and get a whiff of like, oh, he's available, and check it out. I just wouldn't.
So give me like
I don't know,
any name.
Luis Roberts.
Yeah, who can hit the ball far.
Yeah, for the White Sox.
What's his like situation?
I don't know, but I just threw a name out there for you.
He's on a 6-year, $50 million deal with team options in 2026 and 2027. So
you need to trade Jackson Merrill and Dale Lesko.
Exactly. If they go pry the one piece under control for the White Sox for the next 4 years, I'd be impressed, and I'd be surprised as well. All right, let's get back to some of these supers like this one from Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. We should trade for Cody Bellinger and Justin Turner. So this has come up a little bit over the last couple of shows. Justin Turner's name. Justin Turner is having a nice year at the complete end of his career. This goes back to what we've said, really, all these trade deadlines, though, 2020, 2021 with Frazier, 2022 with Soto. Are these the pieces that are really going to impact your win and loss record anyway? Because did that happen in 2020, 2021, or 2022? Did any of the moves they made, made, impact what they did in the second half? No.
No, but I think I would take Cody Bellinger on this team. I think Cody Bellinger would be a massive upgrade over Trent. He would be a massive upgrade over Trent Grisham. Massive. And I think that he could be a guy traded at the deadline. I mean, he's having a really nice year, and he just got back from injury. I think the Justin Turner thing, I don't see him going anywhere just because the Red Sox are fully in it. Like, they're 2 games out of a playoff spot. Why would you trade Justin Turner, who's having a really nice year for you? Like, they're not selling, I don't think. But the Cubs, it's really the Cubs aren't going to make this massive run in the second half. So Cody Bellinger is a guy that, yes, I would put Cody Bellinger on close to the top of my list if you're looking for outfielders and bats to go out and get.
So you're going to add $8 million of salary for Cody Bellinger.
Sure.
Who makes $20 million? Just add 8.
Well, who are you gonna get rid of?
But you agree with what I'm saying. So they're
going
to go add salary, significant salary. Now he's going to be completely, he's not going to cost you anything, relatively speaking, because it's a 1-year deal and he gets paid a ton.
Dude, Preller can sweet talk his way to feels like anything with this organization. If he goes to Seiler and says, "Hey, I have this deal here for Cody Bellinger that could really upgrade us and be that center fielded piece that we're not having right now, and we just need to add $8 million in payroll." It's not adding like $30 million in payroll.
Well, but at the deadline, there are no $30 million ads. You know what I mean? Because if a player makes $30 million, you're only adding 1/3 of the salary. But if a player makes $20 million, I mean, it's an addition. I'm with you. He's had a nice little year, but I don't know. Take on salary, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Again, I think you could do it effectively in terms of it wouldn't cost you much in your system, but he makes $18 million a year. So I don't know.
The reason why the Cubs got Bellinger is to trade Bellinger.
No doubt. Probably to a GM like AJ Preller.
Yeah. So money aside, though, I think we could both agree Cody Bellinger would be a really good fit for this team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think money aside, I think there's a lot of outfielders that are better than Trent
Shohei Ohtani is a good fit for this team.
Yeah, he'd be a really good fit. I think there's a lot of outfielders that are better than Trent Grisham, to be honest with you. I'm surprised they've stuck with him as long as they have. As trigger happy as he is as a GM, the fact that they've thrown him out there every single day, the fact that they threw Austin Knoll out there for, the first 50 games of this season, that to me is surprising, to be honest.
Yeah.
David Bednar locked down 7th, 8th, and 9th with the Pirates.
Didn't David Bednar used to be with the Padres? Oh, yeah, that's right. He was.
I don't think you're acquiring a closer.
No. Unless you really just said, fuck it, we're going to load up in the back of our bullpen and get another closer. Right? Maybe.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I like the name.
I think Bednar would cost you more than Bellinger, though, as far as prospect capital goes.
Yeah, because I don't know how long he's under contract. He signed only through 2023. He's making $800,000.
Just kidding. He wouldn't cost you shit.
Actually, no, he's arbitration eligible. So you'd have no, he's not signed through 2023. He's then arbitration eligible. He's not a free agent until 2027. He'd cost a lot. You'd have him for 4 years.
He'd cost you a lot.
Yeah. Quan, thank you for your membership and your super chat, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Please subscribe if you are here. We're going to tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz, in a moment. He says, get Lucas Giolito, move Lugo to the bullpen, reassures starting pitching, and reloads bullpen.
Did you see what Lucas Giolito did last night?
No, I did not.
He, during the home run derby, very weird. He posted something on Instagram, like announcing his divorce or something.
What?
It's like very weird timing. Like, first of all, what?
Right.
We do Instagram posts announcing that we're getting divorces.
I don't, but maybe he does. That's very weird. During the All-Star game?
During the All-Star game last night,
yeah,
he taught this huge post about him and his wife getting a divorce. I was like, well, okay,
that's bizarre.
As J-Rod just hits another 500-foot home run.
Well, look at it this way: he's had a very nice year. He's a free agent at the end of this season. He's only making $10 million this year, so he'd be owed $3 or $4 million. He's got a 2.8 WAR. He's made 19 starts for the White Sox. It's an interesting name. I think they could absolutely add starting pitching. I think there's no question about that. As good as their starting pitching has been, they're 1 starting pitcher ineffectiveness or injury away from pitching Ryan Weathers in the second half of the season. That will not get you to the postseason. So I wouldn't be surprised if they added a back end piece. That's not Giolito. That's more of a front end piece. But I wouldn't be surprised if they added depth to the rotation, which also then helped their bullpen potentially with something like Lugo. I think it's a good point.
Because while Walker's had a fantastic year, the biggest concern with him is innings pitched, and you're already dealing with like some injury stuff, and you don't want this to turn into, well, he's going to have to be shut down, because that's the worry here, is that because Walker has kind of not overworked, but he's back on a regular every fifth day from the start of the season schedule that he wasn't really on for the last however many years. He hasn't pitched over 126 or 7 innings in like 8 years, and he's already at around 80. So that would be something, getting a starting pitcher, that I think they kind of need if they make a run here up until the trade deadline. Because counting on Lugo, who has not pitched over 100 innings more than one time in his career, and Michael Wacha, who is dealing with shoulder fatigue and kind of an inning limit here, and then Yu Darvish is having a down year. You need another starter if you're going to make a run here, if you're in it, if you play good baseball up to the trade deadline.
It's just going to be interesting to see like what they prioritize, because like we're all saying, well, they could use a starting pitcher in the back. They could use a reliever, obviously, based on the leads they've blown, the injuries they've had. They could use a DH. They could upgrade their bench. They could upgrade behind home plate.
So a lot of things they need to do.
That's the thing. And I don't see how they're going to do all that. And maybe nobody addresses all of their needs.
Pick one thing they have to upgrade, or at least go out and get at the trade deadline. You only can pick one.
Put it in the chat. Yeah, you're basically saying starter, reliever, and maybe pick the position if you're picking a position player. Is it center fielder? Is it DH?
Catcher?
Is it catcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what would you pick if you were picking just one? I think you're going to say bullpen.
Just one? I was going to say starter after I just kind of talked myself into it. But just looking at the last couple of weeks here and knowing how fragile it is, I think I pick bullpen.
I don't know, man. It's hard for me. I'm tempted to add to the offense. Even though, you got the big four and the offense has been better for the last month, I just feel like there's black holes, the bottom third of the lineup. Like if I can get one piece that can hit, easier said than done. It's not like Drury changed everything, Bell changed everything, Soto changed everything. They really struggled to hit.
So that means
last 2 months.
You have complete faith in Steven Wilson and Robert Suarez coming back and being fully healthy.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's why if Robert Suarez was healthy, then I would go. I'd go starter. Look what happened last year in the postseason. You got your ass bit because you didn't have a starter. So I'd go starter.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no idea what you're going to see from Robert Suarez when he comes back, or if he ever comes back. Steven Wilson coming off of an injury here. Like, you're never going to see Drew Pomeranz ever again. You need some more help in that bullpen besides Josh Hader.
Yeah, the issue is, and I forget some of the names, but he's acquired relief help over parts of the last 3 years, and he's acquired some pitchers that haven't worked out. Right? Like, who did he trade for 2 years ago that had like a 1 ERA and was then awful in the second half?
Who did he say that again?
He traded for a reliever with like a 1 ERA, and then he was terrible in the second half. I forget who it was. Veteran reliever he traded for in 2021. He was terrible.
Oh, Daniel Hudson. Yeah,
and then so like he's, there have been some. It's not like you can guarantee whoever you trade for is going to be effective in your bullpen either. I'm with you on Wilson and Suarez, but is Daniel Hudson a better option? Like at the time, it seemed like a better option. Then all of a sudden, he can't hit the side of a barn with his pitches.
Right.
So, but again, I think you take shots in the dark with relievers because it doesn't cost you that much at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Please subscribe if you're here. We appreciate the supers. Click the $ below the chat box. This turned into a trade deadline special. And for $1.99, Justin will send us down the path of talking about Shohei Ohtani, We need a DH and a starter. Ohtani question mark. I like that, Justin. Just throw it out there. I mean, what do you think? Have you ever thought of the name Shohei Ohtani? Jim, what do you think? I mean, they need a DH. They need a starter. I kind of like it. I feel like he probably could help you out offensively. I think he could pitch for you.
Yeah, my
I think it would. I think it would be a win for the Padres if they landed him.
couple prospects to get it done. Do you think?
And maybe you include Grisham. I mean, Ohtani's not coming here.
Maybe it's Grisham, dude. I love like in the off season or like people were saying, dude, just package Grisham and Nola and Campusano and Jackson Merrill, and we can get Shohei Ohtani because Jackson Merrill's a top prospect.
Like, do the Angels? Let's be honest. Do the Angels call you back if you leave a voicemail with whoever the GM is now? He's got like an interesting name. If you leave a voicemail like, hey, Jackson Merrill and Ethan Salas and Dylan Lesko and is it Dylan Head, whoever the hell they just drafted? I don't even think he can be traded within a year, but whatever.
Robbie Snelling.
And Robbie Snelling. What do they call back? Is that a good deal? I mean, he's a rental. But I mean, you gotta be crazy to think that Shohei Ohtani just said yesterday that his number one motivation is to play for a winner and losing sucks. Now, do the Angels move him at the deadline? Maybe. I'd be surprised, to be honest, but maybe they move him at the deadline. But if they do, I mean, he's going to go to a 500 Padres team.
Right. He goes to a team that has a worse record than the one he's on.
It's like it's going to be like 4 games out of a playoff spot. Like, I don't know. That seems like a bit of a stretch. And by a bit of a stretch, I mean, I don't see any scenario where he's traded to the San Diego Padres for a zillion reasons. Like, they don't have the system to do it, and they don't have the record to do it.
Yeah,
and I don't know if the Angels even move him.
The Padres don't have the prospect capital to even sniff an Ohtani trade because they used all of that capital on Soto last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they still had Gore in the system and they had James Wood in the system and, like maybe, but you used all that up on Juan Soto last year. So there was a 0.0% chance you're going to trade for Ohtani. And shit, if they want Ohtani so bad, just wait a half season and you can go sign him in the offseason. But again, I don't even want to fucking talk about them trying to sign Ohtani because this shit, it's just the spending a bunch of money so far is not it.
Right. I mean, yeah, I can't even entertain the idea of Shohei Ohtani free agency. Now, do I think there'll be rumors for every team? And because AJ Preller's crazy, do I think there'll be articles on it? Yeah, probably. I do. I'm sure we'll hear Bob Nightingale say the Padres are one of 13 teams with an interest in Shohei Ohtani. Like, I'm sure that's going to happen. And Shohei Ohtani likes the West Coast, and the Padres are willing to spend $5. Well, we're going to hear it all, but is it realistic? Is it going to happen? Is he coming to a team that let's say, I mean, you have to make the postseason to even be in the conversation when he's a free agent, obviously. He's not going to come here if you don't make the postseason this year. So I don't even want to entertain it, to be honest with you, because I don't find it realistic. I didn't want to entertain it last year. People wanted to talk about it. I told you we both said it's not happening, and it didn't happen. He wasn't dealt, Run it back. Thank you again. He says, what did it cost us to get Hudson? To get an idea. To get an idea of what it costs to get a reliever that's having a nice year.
A guy that I have no idea. I don't remember. I think someone in the chat put it Mason Thompson.
Oh.
Some reliever guy. I don't know.
Yeah, it was the old Jordy Barley and Mason Thompson deal.
Oh, yeah. Man, I miss those guys.
So, yeah, the point is you can get relievers that are having nice years.
Yeah.
Although there'll be a lot of buyers because we talked about it the other day. You said there's going to be 7 or 8 sellers. So there's going to be a lot of buyers. So maybe that drives the price up a little bit. But you're not trying to trade for Shohei Ohtani.
No.
Like, there's a difference between Daniel Hudson and, like, Shohei Ohtani. Like, I don't know if you could pull off Ohtani for Mason Thompson and Jordy Barley. Did you see the article that Marty retweeted last night in Spanish? Did you use Google Translate to translate that, or did you click on it?
No.
The article about
Juan
Soto.
I did see it, and
Juan Soto has been asked again about whether he will be moved at the trade deadline.
Oh, geez.
And he said at the end of the day, after the Nationals traded me, nothing surprises me anymore. He also said, I'll be up for anything. right now. I'm trying to play ball. I'm a member of the Padres, and what I'm trying to do is bring a championship to San Diego. Everything is possible. We're not as far away as people say. I think we have a chance in the second half. We have the talent. We have the players. What we have to do is come together and play good ball. Let's see here. He said he got off to a slow start, very uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie. They were very difficult moments, but thank God we were able to make the adjustments, get ahead, and have a good first half. I think he's talking about himself when he says it that way.
Yeah.
We had a good first half. I hope I have a better second half. Right now, I don't think about things that haven't happened after the All-Star game. I will focus on my one mission, helping the Padres win games. So that's Juan Soto yesterday in Spanish using Google Translate.
Kind of what I said yesterday. He's not thinking about free agency next year or a contract. Like, he cares more about winning games right now and making sure he has a good season than anything. Like, when he was struggling this year, do you think during his struggles he's like, shit, wonder if I'm gonna get a contract? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna get paid. He's gonna get a shit ton
He
of
will.
money.
Mm-hmm.
So this year especially, you're not thinking about that. You're just not.
All right. Good point. Yeah, I mean, I think what he said, though, about like, hey, I think last year he was probably a little naive to the idea that he could have been dealt. He's talked about that. And now he's like this seasoned pro, even though he's only 24. And he's like, listen, it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Juan Soto's getting traded, but we don't know for certain. Everything we said about AJ Preller, his willingness to buy, could he, in the same breath, have a willingness to pull off some massive move and sell off a piece if this team really doesn't perform out of the gates in the second half?
Utterly shocked.
Me too.
Like, jaw on the floor, speechless. I don't know how to comprehend what the fuck just happened. Shocked.
Even if they fall 10 games under.
Yeah, because you made a good point the other day.
It's all about 2024.
Where you're just going to regroup. Like, at that point, you're going to sell off Snell and Hader because they're not going to resign here, so you can get something for them because they're not going to be here in 2024. But Soto, like, you got to the mindset for this organization can't just be like, well, fuck it, we tried, so we're just going to give up on the next 10 years. Like, they're going to have to regroup here and try to win next year, and Soto's a big part of that.
Yes, I mean, there is no going punting on next year. I'm looking at it right now from MLB trade rumors. I mean, they're like $200 million in for next year. You know what I mean? It's maybe not that high, but it's a big, big number.
They're pot committed.
Cronenworth, Suarez, they're pot committed. Yes, I mean, yeah, that's why I'd be utterly shocked because I think 2024 their motivations are the same as 2023, which is to get to a World Series and/or win one. So just because you're having a bad 2023 doesn't mean you're gonna then rebuild for 2024. That doesn't make any sense to me the way they've spent.